fix me some coffee and honey bun, jump in my pickup, give her the gas, I'm going out to catch a 5-pound bass.
And good morning. Welcome back to Talkin' Racine. I'm Dr. Ken Jorgen here this morning with George Myers.
Morning.
And our producer, Mr. Jim Spodek.
Morning.
And the subject of today is the Sandy Weidner case. We've talked about this quite a bit over the past couple of years. And here we are again today. There was a recent development, though. A judgment came down from Judge Kerkman down in Kenosha. And he's basically said, nothing to see here. Everybody go away. Go back home. Leave me alone. It's kind of what the decision was, right?
Yeah, Jim, you were going to give a little background on how this thing came up for some of the newer viewers.
Right. Well, if you remember right, Sandy Weidner ran for mayor in August of 2017. At that time, City Attorney Letney, of Racine, City Attorney Letney, proposed that to the executive committee, called an executive committee, and said that emails, attorney-client privilege emails, are being dispersed among citizens, including us.
I don't think he even used attorney-client privilege at that time.
No, he didn't. I think it was just emails that needed to be reviewed. And with this review, he was asking the council to send it to the ethics committee for review to see if this is something that the ethics committee should review and see if there were ethical violations.
And he implied that it was like one council member who was most in question. And he didn't reveal who that was, but gee, son of a gun, it managed to come out.
It was unbelievable.
And it turned out to be Alderman Sandy Weidner, who was in the heat of a campaign for mayor.
Correct.
And funniest thing.
Yeah. Anyway, it continued on. She lost the race for mayor. She then said, hey, what happened to these emails? Of course, at that time, it was all dropped. Well, then she files it. No, I want to know what were in these emails. I want to see that the same emails are going to the ethics committee as what was presented to the Common Council, because the Common Council approved to move those emails, that package of emails or that PowerPoint, to the ethics committee to be reviewed. She said, I'd like to see it. I'd like to be at that ethics committee meeting, or at least my representative be there. Well, you can't do that. She files a mandamus to say, I'd like to see those emails. I want to see what's in that PowerPoint that you're presenting to the ethics committee. Can't see it. Goes to court. City attorney now hires his own attorney out of Milwaukee. Now, again, remember, he's hiring he's hiring an attorney to represent him in court. Goes to Gaskergevich's court. Gaskergevich seals the courtroom, completely eliminates the court. A long fight battle through. It goes to the appeals court after they claimed she had revealed some emails and charged her with contempt of court. I mean, a joke. Went national. Went to appeals court after that. The appeals court came back and said, you did it wrong, and you have to do it again. At that point, it was moved to Kenosha and to Judge Kerkman's court. Judge Kerkman's court basically gets the same thing. He goes one step further and seals all the emails. They're all attorney-client privilege, and files a judgment with prejudice in favor of the city.
By the way, he also includes Sandy Weidner in the hiding of those emails. Sandy wasn't even allowed to see the emails.
Attorney's eyes only.
Nobody but the attorneys.
Yeah. I mean, this is so bizarre, and I mean, this is going to end up at a Supreme Court, or it's completely.
Well, and she's the person against whom this information is being used, as though this is some kind of secret stuff. You're the person that you put it in danger of going out to the public, so you better shut up.
Yeah.
You better just shut up.
That was another false accusation. Sandy had never revealed any information in the case at all. What she revealed was that the case existed. It was so shut down you couldn't even find it on the Wisconsin court's website. So when Sandy let people know and let the press know that this case existed, that was what she was held in contempt of court for. It wasn't because she told anybody anything about what any of those emails or what was in the case.
But anyway,
and what's so important about those emails anyway? I mean, the bulk of them from what she was able to discern, because she did see the PowerPoint at the meeting.
Correct.
And during the process of that meeting, she discovered that she was the person of interest that they were thinking about referring to the ethics board. But as best she could tell, all of the information that was contained in those emails was stuff that she had gathered from the city attorney's office, simply because constituents had said, Alderman Weidner, could you help me? I'd like to know this, that, or the other thing. Some of these things that come into her desk, she would refer to the city attorney's office for information. He'd give it back to her. But then she's not supposed to give it to the citizens?
That's weird.
Who requested it? It's crazy.
And I was listed in, well, Jim and I were both listed in the complaint. So the information I got from Sandy, I haven't gotten a lot of emails from her, but almost all of it, anything that I remember, was information I'd asked her about. She had gone to the city staff or the attorney to get it, and when she got it back, she gave it to me. So, and that was considered illegal, you know, and that was a break. It was one of two things. It was attorney-client privilege, or it was attorney effort or attorney's
work product.
Work product. That's what it was. So he'd done the research, and one of them was, what were the possible voting dates for a special election? And so the city attorney went to all the work and listed all the possible dates first, and then said, okay, the city clerk is gone on this one, and there's a vacation date on this one, and various reasons. It got down to 3 dates, and we're going to go with that one. And that was determined to be a violation of his work product.
Well, here's the thing, George. Kerkman and Kenosha seal that as attorney-client privilege. No one can know those dates.
Sandy can't even see it.
Yeah.
And here's the other thing that really gets difficult. When you get into the structure of the way the government's supposed to work, the council is supposed to run the city. It's in charge of what the government does and what all happens with regards to the government and the city. The mayor and the staff are there to support the council. It's not the other way around. It's just the mayor and the staff supports the council. So when a council member like a Sandy Weidner wants some information, wants some help, they go to the staff for that information so that they can do their job. And a lot of times, doing their job means finding out for a constituent what the constituent's problem is and how are we going to get this problem solved in the constituent's area, whatever the problem is. So she was perfectly within the rights to ask the city attorney for these election dates and get it and pass it back to me because I had the question. See, so that and that has now become illegal for her to. That's what they're claiming in the suit, that it's illegal for her to pass that information back to me, which makes
Letney the ultimate control of the city. That's what it boils down to. But let's get into Kerkman here, because we brought up that Kerkman, is he going to take the bait? And one of the questions we have now is that it came back after he took those emails and sealed everything with in favor of the city of Racine. The city now comes back because Weidner's attorney found some things in these PowerPoint that weren't in the real PowerPoint. So there was some switcheroos went on. So now the city is saying, we'd like to open that case back up and put the right information in there.
Yeah, and they're also claiming that the difference is inconsequential.
Nothing there.
It was an inadvertent error. It was, it's so insignificant you can hardly even call it an error. And so let's just, it won't matter anyway. It won't matter. Well, really, what matters is the fact that you screwed up. You did not have these two PowerPoint versions did not equate to one another. You said this is the one and only one, this is it, it's a true and accurate representation of what happened. Oh, except for this. Well, you've been caught now doing one thing that was wrong. How many other things might there be?
That was under oath, too.
It was on an affidavit.
Here's it. I want to just play a quick video here, and I want to just watch it closely, because this is the city's attorney, Cohen, stating to the judge that this is the PowerPoint, and it's in, this is the only PowerPoint, and this is the one. He states it to the judge. I'm going to cut to it.
Oh, I want to see this, yeah.
It's quite unclear, Your Honor. Judge Gaster-Cavas went through a detailed analysis of the materials that related to the initial petition and rendered a decision with respect to privilege as to those materials. What's different with the amended petition is it includes a PowerPoint presentation which largely and completely incorporates those materials, but adds a couple slides related to what attorney-client privilege is, basically, the background for the privilege. So, in my view, from the city's view, much of what the judge has already done would apply to the amended petition other than a few frames.
Sounds pretty definitive to me. That
Right
he
there,
was
he said,
absolutely convinced there's a one and only version. It's true and accurate. This is exactly what it was. But
And now
this
he
is
says,
this is on the very bottom of the judgment, right?
On the judgment that the judge signs and says, "Yep, the city's correct." But on the very footnote of the last page is this statement. It says, Weidner notes that items in the PowerPoint were not included in the advisory opinion request, which is the ethics board. While accurate, wait a second, while accurate.
it's accurate that they were not the same.
They were not the same.
Yeah.
She's telling the truth.
Yeah.
They were different.
The observation is completely immaterial to only the issues at hand, whether the PowerPoint is protected by attorney-client privilege. Okay.
In other words, it didn't make any difference what the evidence was.
Yeah, don't worry about the truth.
Well, what is the basic function of attorney-client privilege? It's basically to protect the client, correct? In case that there is something that is discussed or transferred back and forth between the client and the attorney, which in some way would be incriminating to the client. Well, there's attorney-client privilege. They do not have to disclose that to the court.
The attorney does not. The attorney cannot be subpoenaed for the information he got in confidence from the client and be used against his client. That's the attorney-client privilege, so that the client can be totally open with the attorney, so the attorney knows what the situation is and how he can work the case.
So is there something in that PowerPoint that might be incriminating to the city? Or is this just a bullshit claim on the part of Scott Latney to bring more power into his office where he can have a determination as to what information flows out to the public and back from the public? He wants to be the gatekeeper.
That's right, and the point is that he's reversed the roles. In other words, he's making it client-attorney privilege, I guess you might call it, because he's saying that he has a privilege against his client, which is the alderman. Remember what I said, is that the staff serves the alderman. The alderman are the clients, and he is their attorney. He is their attorney for them. And for him to say that they are violating his rights under the attorney-client privilege is just backwards.
Okay, but here, Ken, you brought up a good point. What's in those emails? Why the switcheroo on these emails? Now, all of a sudden, well, we found that, Your Honor, the dog ate the homework, so we're going to we want to open up the case and bring in the real PowerPoint this time.
We think.
Well, he's not even sure.
We screwed up once.
Yeah. It's, I believe there's a couple things in here. As far as I can tell, the only difference between the filed PowerPoint and the revised PowerPoint is very minor as follows.
It's a revised PowerPoint. That's a good way to put it.
Talk about hedging your bets.
Oh, my God.
As far as I can tell.
Don't call it a fraudulent PowerPoint.
Yeah. Now, wait a sec. You filed a fraudulent document in the courts and the judge made a decision on it.
You created the document and you can't testify with certainty what's in there? What the hell is that?
I have to remember, that's a good description of a fraudulent document, a revised document.
Revised PowerPoint. Based on the information contained in the filed PowerPoint and the revised PowerPoint, it seems to me now that the revised PowerPoint was likely the version presented during the closed session meeting, but I cannot state that for certain. Hey, Judge Kerkman, are you reading this stuff? That's why. Is he going to take the bait on that?
He doesn't watch the show.
He's watching this.
Isn't he? If you're out there, you might want to check
You might want to check something here.
I would read each and every one of them emails.
Because the last time you took it hook, line, and sinker. Matter of fact, you swallowed her all the way down.
He might be in the boat by now.
Oh, he's in the boat. They already got him filleted hanging.
Yeah.
They're hoping to do it again to you. That's what's going to go. That's what they're trying to do here. And you've got to open this up. This is a joke. It was a joke from the beginning. Read and understand what you're looking at, because this is not going to play well down the road.
It's not all that funny, though, because what they're doing, they're taking a public servant who did a remarkable job for the citizens of Racine, and they're hanging her out to dry.
Absolutely.
So that is not a funny joke.
Not at all.
It's not, and probably their biggest problem when opening up. It's going to be a horrible embarrassment to Scott Letney and the staff, and possibly to the city government as a whole because of the things that they're going on.
So the only person that really knows what's in that PowerPoint is Sandy Weidner, Alderman Weidner. That would be the only person, other than the other persons in that executive committee meeting.
Yeah.
Which was basically the council members.
Yeah.
But there were a lot of them.
There was a lot of them.
It wasn't just 10 or 12. What was it, 30 or 40?
So would you subpoena them and said, here's the PowerPoint. Now, is this information in here?
Oh, I'd be all over that.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's some...
I'd be taking depositions nonstop for a while here.
Yeah, I'd be putting them all on the hot seat.
And if they were all opened up, which they should be. By the way, when Sandy first went for the records, it was an open records request, which is perfectly legitimate, and any citizen can do this. It also happened to be evidence that was being used against her in this Court of Ethics thing, but it was basically an open records request, and that's why this whole thing went nationwide when they found out the government was hiding these documents because the open records request lost.
No, correct me if I'm wrong, but did Scott Letney or did Scott Letney not release that PowerPoint to the rest of the Common Council?
Yeah, that was the thing. And there were just so many, and Sandy was not there taking notes and taking copies of each one. And so when it came to this information that was going to be used against her, she said, I need a copy of that PowerPoint.
Right.
And that's when the shades started coming down and the doors started slamming shut, saying, you can't see them. And all it is it's information, Doc, that you pointed out, the whole council acting as the executive committee. They aren't really the executive committee. The executive committee is only 4 people, but they had all 15 council members there, and so it was shown to the entire council, the whole dang thing.
Okay, so let me get this right.
But then they subsequently, later on, they released it.
Yeah, they released it after Sandy.
To the city council.
Yeah. Here, let me get this right. They had the executive committee, and they said to the Common Council, these should be examined by the Ethics Board. The Common Council, the executive committee takes it to the Common Council. They vote to move it to the Ethics Committee. Mm-hmm. So when Sandy files and says, hey, I want a copy of that or I want to be represented in there, Letney comes out and passes out all these emails or a PowerPoint to all the aldermen and say, there's no reason to go to court because, Judge, I've handed out and given them all a copy of this PowerPoint. Sandy said, no, that's not the right one. Letney said, yes, it is. Signs an affidavit to say, yes, it is. Mm-hmm. He then basically lies to the Common Council. He then, in the statement, in the judgment, it states, to the court that, wait a second, that wasn't exactly the same one that we did give the Common Council. So you
But
lie.
It was really close.
It was good. It was really close. Really was. And just don't worry about it, Judge. We'll take care of this. So you lie to the Common Council. You lie to the Ethics Committee. You lie to Sandy Weidner. You then go to the court and you lie to the court. And then when you get caught lying, it took this long through 2 sets of courts. When you finally get caught lying, oh, wait a second.
Innocent mistake.
Wait a second.
It's immaterial.
I can't remember.
Don't worry about it.
Can't remember which one I gave him.
Yeah. This observation is completely immaterial.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. So,
in other words, the evidence doesn't mean anything.
So by the way, remember, it was 18. Remember in the beginning? There was only 18. Remember? In Gaskergevich's court, there were 18 emails. Then I see there's 72 points in his PowerPoint. We've added a couple things. What?
A couple. Just a couple insignificant things.
Then all of a sudden, it's the wrong one. We got an affidavit here that said this is the right one. Well, wait a sec. We're going to change our affidavit now and state that this is the right one, the revised one. Are you kidding me? And this is going in front of a court. I really want to be there for this one because I want to see what this judge does because now it's...
What relationship do 18 and 72 have? 72 is exactly 4 times as many.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
But they're claiming that there's only one that they...
Because I think Gaskergevich released, was it 12 that he released? I can't... It
was in that somewhere. I thought there were only 12, and then I found out there was all these whole big, huge number in the original one, and I thought, where did that come from? So
this has all been a song and dance the whole time. And now it's going back in. Now they've actually got to correct their own lie. And now is Kerkman going to take it hook, line, and sinker? We'll see. Yeah. We'll see. What's a bet? Let's go. Let's say.
You want to bet?
Well, we can't. Let's just say. What's your thought on Kerkman taking it and just signing off on this one? You're right.
I think he's already got the first hook down in his gullet. So it's probably a lure with a treble hook on it, I'm thinking. Is he going to swallow another hook is what you want to know, right?
You're going to take it out? Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I'm thinking it'll get caught in his fin. So
he's going to take it deep.
He's going to have his gullet, and he's going to have one hooked up back here in the dorsal fin, and then there'll be one more hanging out there for him. That's an optional hook. That's what I'm thinking.
Now Jim's going to ask me, and I'm supposed to compete with a fisherman on whether he's going to take a hook, line, and sinker. And I don't fish. I don't know even what they've just been talking about. They might have been talking about nuclear physics for all I know. And I know more about nuclear physics than I do about that.
Well, what do you think, George?
I think he's going to go with it. I don't see him just totally reversing himself all of a sudden and saying, okay, we got to open it up. That's not the way judges operate.
Well, he could say something like, well, I actually read the evidence now.
Oh, I don't think that's going to happen.
No, I
don't. I question whether he did read it. I really do.
Well, it's literally in the judgment part. I mean, down at the. I can't believe. Oh yeah, it's accurate. This is what the whole case was, and they admit to it. Well, Sandy Weidner was accurate in her, her court case.
I think he's going to get suckered in. Let's put it that way.
I'm afraid to say. I think this judge is.
We'll see. We'll see.
We'll see.
He's going to buy their argument that it's insignificant and of no material.
No, don't worry, buddy. You lied to the court, so what? You know what? People make mistakes. That just happens.
The only argument I would give that, if it is immaterial, let's just see all the immaterial stuff.
Let's see it.
Just bring it on. It's all immaterial. I got to make it immaterial.
Yeah. I mean, how dangerous can this be? How
Let's
dangerous?
See both versions.
There's got to be stuff
or how
in
many
there.
ever there are.
Yeah, I got a feeling that this has been such a switcheroo on these PowerPoint to make it look like it's attorney-client privilege to this judge that I don't think the original and this revised are even, I don't think any of it's even close. I think this thing is a bogus thing from the beginning. They're pushing it through a system where Kerkman is just one of the players in the big game.
Well, I think this whole thing here is to establish an excuse. They're trying to establish an excuse for the differences that are going to show up in the evidence.
Yeah.
If anybody does look any deeper. Yeah. They're hoping nobody looks any deeper.
Well, they've been
but
hoping
if they do, they'll
along.
just say, well, we already acknowledged that there was an error.
Yeah.
That there was a mistake made. So I don't.
Well, and the real issue,
hold us accountable for that.
Yeah, the real issue is attorney-client privilege, which gets us down to the thing where I said is asking for an election date attorney-client privilege.
George,
which is one of the actual
as far as I'm concerned, the whole thing came down to open records. How did it switch from open records to attorney-client privilege? Attorney-client privilege is different than open records. Open records in a city, you should have access to the full and utmost access to city government.
Well, I'd love to get it back to that one, too. Yeah. That's right.
I mean, that's what we're supposed to be. And at some point in the legal system, it's in there. It's just you can't find it in circuit courts. Our court system is in a terrible place, and it needs to be corrected.
Yeah. I certainly will not disagree with that.
Yeah. All right. Onward.
Okay, well, I tell you what, we're going to make a recommendation to all members of the City Council who received a copy of this PowerPoint to go back and look at it and ask yourself, should this be protected? Should this be hidden from the public? Should Alderman Weidner be denied access to this stuff? Is it that dangerous to the rest of us, or to the city, or to her? I mean, where is the danger?
And I'll tell you something.
The people that got a copy of it, go back and look at it. And if you've lost it, call the attorney's office and ask for another copy.
Yeah, behind all this is a common council. They still legally run the city. Whether they're doing it or not factually is another question. But if they are, if the mayor and the staff are really running the city and the council is just a rubber stamp, they are violating their oath of duty, in other words, but because they are expected to be running the city. And I'd also like to point out that we're getting into a new election season now. In April, the odd number districts will be up for aldermanic challenges, and there are some people challenging. There are 3 or 4 candidates we understand are going to be challenging some of these council members. So this is going to be a good chance for us to find out about these, whoever they are. We're not real certain yet, but the rumbling is there's going to be some people out there running. Find out who they are, and let's give them a chance. This might be a time to really do something about that council.
I got one last thing to say. Fire Scott Letney. Absolutely, he's poison. He's poison to that city, and you've got to get rid of him. I mean, these briefs and these filings is a joke, and it should be handled like a joke. And any attorney that can put this together, and I don't know, and I'm not sure, it's likely, I can't remember. Are you kidding me? This is the guy that's the attorney for the city.
Let's get an attorney for the city that really recognizes his job is to help the aldermen and get their
help the aldermen serve the public.
Serve the public, right? Serve the public, because even for the aldermen, it's a lot of complicated laws. So it's up to the city attorney to straighten those things out, help them out, so that they can do their job. And find somebody that's thinking about that rather than about himself and his own power, position of power, prestige, and privilege.
Well, I agree with you, Jim. In fact, I've voiced that same opinion a couple of times on the show before. You have too, haven't you, George?
No, it's time for a new city attorney.
Yeah.
No question about that.
So he'll probably be here next week. It'd be pretty quick to get rid of him that fast. We could hope for that, but we'll be here next week too. And hopefully you will be. Come and sit with us for a little while and learn more about your city. Thanks for being here.